You're not recording.
I am now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, we're going.
Oh. It was muted. God.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of Back from the Grid podcast. Whoop, whoop. This is Matthew, your host, along with your co-host, Cody. Cody, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty fantabulistical, Matthew.
That is not a word.
It is now. We're going to do this every podcast.
That's not the word.
Staple. It's a staple. It's totally a word. What are you talking about? We've made it a word. It's officially a word now.
Alrighty then.
Yes. How are you doing, Matthew? What have you been up to? What games have you playing? All that good stuff.
I've been doing pretty good. I've not really been playing very many games, but I have been watching a couple movies.
Oh, okay.
So,
can you talk about that in a very quick amount of time?
Can I talk about these movies in a very quick amount of time? What kind of question is that?
That's a question that I just asked you. What are you talking about?
I've been watching a couple Marvel movies. Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Watched Thor recently.
Which one?
It was for Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah, it was like one of my favorite ones.
That's
I still can't wait for the third or fourth Thor movie.
Sounds like you're saying 4 movie.
Let's go for 4.
Hey, Disney owns Fox now, so a good 4 movie could be coming out pretty soon.
Woohoo! Speaking of Fox movies, I did watch Fantastic Four.
Oh,
not the awful ones, but the god awful one.
The newer ones?
The reboot.
Why did you subject yourself to that torture?
Because I just wanted to torture myself, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And remind myself, this is why Fox cannot make Marvel movies anymore. So, you know.
Yeah. Were they really ever able to make Marvel movies?
I mean, you know, the X-Men movies weren't that bad.
No, they were okay.
Unless we're talking about, Dark Phoenix. I heard Dark Phoenix was god-awful.
So what I heard about Dark Phoenix was that it came out right after a movie, right after Captain Marvel. And effectively those movies were very similar. So I think the problem everyone had with it was they were just burnt out on that kind of movie when they watched it. But I've not seen it, so I can't say.
Oh, yeah?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah?
But
I haven't watched Captain Marvel, though.
You haven't watched Captain Marvel?
No, I have not.
Well, that's your loss. Not mine.
You're that person that watches all the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I've seen all the Marvel movies.
So, and I did watch Star Wars recently.
Which one?
To prepare for, I watched it Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Okay.
The one where Anakin
that's
dies.
The most recent.
Spoiler alert.
What?
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 Okay, Matthew, I think you're getting them mixed up here.
Last Jedi is the one where he dies.
Oh, the older one.
The newer one.
With
old Anakin. Did you not know?
Oh my God,
Last
Matthew.
Jedi?
That's Luke.
Oh.
Anakin is Darth Vader.
Oopsie doopsie.
Don't be trying to push your objective opinions on me when you can't name the character right.
Okay, when Luke died.
Yes.
Actually, it was Jar Jar Binks who's actually
spoilers, everybody. I know we're spoiling.
Spoilers. Actually, Rey confronts Snoke, and she's like, "Yo, who are you at, boy?" And then he takes off his face mask, and it's like, "It's me, Annie."
And then fades to black. Jar Jar Binks will return.
Oh no!
All right, let's get back on track. Matthew, I have been playing a game.
What kind of game?
It's an interesting game. It's a park building game. A theme park building game.
Oh, is it? Wait, let me take a guess. Is it Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Which one?
Oh, God.
Which one?
Oh, wait.
Matthew.
I'm going to guess 2016.
Bam.
Oh!
You're wrong. You are factually wrong.
God. Why?
You are objectively wrong. I have been playing Planet Coaster, which is the spiritual successor to the best Roller Coaster Tycoon game, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
Wait, that's not an answer.
Yeah, it is.
I said Roller Coaster Tycoon, and you say, Oh, which year?
Yeah,
Which
because
one?
I wanted you to guess which year. It didn't have anything to do with my answer.
Why would you do that?
Because I was effing with you, Matthew. No, but Planet Coaster has actually been pretty fun. I've been enjoying it. I'm not like the biggest scenery decorator, but I like the business management part of it. It's pretty fun. I recommend it. Although there's a little bit too much DLC for my liking.
But that sounds like a lot of fun. Have you been watching any movies?
Yes, but we will get to that later in the show.
Oh.
Been watching some horror movies.
Oh.
Because we're getting into the spooky season.
Let's just skip September. Let's just skip to October.
Well, September's got some good stuff in it.
No.
But we have to talk about this, Matthew, because this is the bread and butter of our podcast. And no one listens to this podcast for any other reason but the words that I'm about to speak.
Oh, yeah?
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Mount & Blade Bannerlord comes out and is released in 178 days.
Whoop, whoop. How many hours?
I don't know. 'Cause they said March 2020. They didn't say March 1st. I'm assuming it's March 1st because that's what I want it to be. But they just said March, so we'll see. However, I did want to mention, because I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, Mount & Blade Bannerlord has a beta that I think is starting either this week or next week that you can go sign up for right now. You can go sign up for it right now. Just go to their I think it was their wrapping up Gamescom discussion on the Steam page. You can go there and you can find the sign up link. You can sign up for it, and if you get chosen, you get to play Mount & Blade Bannerlord.
So what are you going to do when you get chosen?
I don't think I will because they're looking for multiplayer. It's a multiplayer beta.
I mean, you're dedicated enough. You can get in there.
I don't know. We'll see. If they do allow me in, then I will give you guys the inside scoop on the Mount & Blade Bannerlords. But that's all we've got for right now for this first little chat section. Matthew, I believe you've built a new segment from the ground up. You've labored and you've put in the hours with your hard hat and your hammer and been sawing away and buzz sawing to create this new awesome thing.
With my tactical shovel.
Yes, exactly. So please, take it away.
Alrighty, so last podcast I asked you is going to be our new segment into our podcast. Whoop, whoop. We'll see how everybody reacts, but basically, we're going to go ahead and ask a question towards each other and the community, and we're going to have a discussion about it. And the really cool thing about this segment is the fact that if you guys are interested in what we're talking about, we will go ahead and include you in the discussion. So we'll bring up next week's topic at the end of this sequence, so that way you guys can voice your opinions and hopefully, most likely, get involved.
Get involved and have fun
we'll
with
talk
all of
about
us
it.
and hear all of your awesome internet opinions on this show.
Even though they're all irrelevant.
Well, maybe they're irrelevant.
Irrelevant?
Yes,
That's a mighty fine elephant.
exactly. Okay, so Matthew, what is our first LPIAY?
Lapaya.
Sure.
Anyway, so our first question is, what Disney movie do you want to see get a live action adaptation and why?
Okay.
So,
Well,
Cody.
let's see. We didn't get any viewer responses for this one, but that's okay. This is a new segment, so me and you can just talk about it. Personally, do you want my honest answer?
Yeah, give it to me.
Don't say that.
Give it to me, I'm worth it.
Don't say that. So none.
Why?
None of the above. Because I don't like the adaptations. I mean, okay, let me say this. I've seen a couple of them. They are okay, and I think they do a decent job at introducing the new generation into old classic Disney movies. But honestly, I feel like the new version takes away from the older one. Because you watch the new one, and then the older one is just gonna like fade into the background. And I would rather that not happen because those are the better versions, in my personal opinion. Although I haven't seen the new Lion King, which I want to, because I've heard it's good. Even though it's not live action, there are no
All
live
CGI,
people actors,
baby.
so it's not live action. It's just a different animation style reboot of it.
A thing.
Yeah, but personally, I don't have any Disney movie I'd want because I want them to stop, Matthew. They need to stop.
They need to stop.
It's
Please
too much.
stop.
It's too much. But what about you, Matthew?
I would love to see a sequel and or live action adaptation of the Disney movie Treasure Planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume you've not watched it.
Of course I've watched it.
Oh, man, I love that movie.
Not
Disney
recently.
sent it to its grave when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, the same time it released it was about the same time the first Harry Potter movie got released. So it got
Sorcerer's
destroyed
Stone.
at the box office. That, and they didn't put much advertising into it, and the advertising they did put into it barely covered any of the key points.
The tiny marketing budget.
Yeah, and they barely spoiled. They actually spoiled one of the main characters'
Mm-hmm.
plot points and what they're supposed to be doing, which was kind of disappointing because the character's supposed to be a surprise, and they spoiled it in the teaser. So that's why Cody does not watch teasers.
Nope. I try to avoid trailers and teasers and like upcoming about this movie articles because I just want to watch it and be surprised when I see it.
Boy, good thing you didn't watch that D20 Star Wars trailer.
Oh,
There was a
oh, I'm sure I've heard inklings because I can't stay completely away from it. I hear rumors. And I've heard one big rumor about something in the trailer about, well, I'm sure you already know, and I'm sure our listeners probably know, a certain person laughing. That.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, good. Then I've avoided one spoiler. So if you guys could, please don't post spoilers on our social media, at least until after a couple weeks of it being out. But yes, exactly. What were we talking about? I'm lost now.
We were talking about Treasure Planet, and the reason
Yes.
why I want it is because it can give them another chance to revisit this universe and just do it right. Because although it was a great movie, it was the score, the music and stuff was excellent. I loved the art style. I thought it was some of the most amazing art design and the most amazing animation that took a great deal of effort to go ahead and do.
Do you think they would be able to bring that over into live action though?
Yeah.
That same feeling?
Oh yeah, no, I would have faith in it. I would love to see that.
Would you buy Disney Plus for it?
Maybe.
I'll take that as a
Okay.
maybe.
Well, it depends. If it's good and it's not like a low budget, personally, I'd rather prefer just to go to the movie theater and just watch it. I really don't want to watch like a television series or just like
A movie for television or something like that.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want it to be a super expensive 2.5 hour Disney film.
Well, you're not going to get that though because of
In live
how
action.
well it performed when it came out. The best you could hope for is a TV series of it, probably.
I don't want to see a TV series.
Well, it's going to happen because that money. Oh, and I did just think of a movie that I would actually probably be interested in if they remade it. Hercules.
Oh.
I would watch a live action version of Hercules.
What's the guy who plays as Thor?
Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, imagine if he played as Hercules.
Maybe. I was thinking maybe Dwayne The Rock Johnson could play a good Hercules as well. Well, just like body size. I think he would do pretty good.
Because he's ripped.
He's a rock. But yeah, so this was interesting. And that's this last podcast. I asked you, Matthew's awesome new segment. However, he is gesturing to me violently that he has one more thing to add. So please go ahead.
Alrighty, so since this is the end of the segment, we're going to go ahead and ask you guys for the next episode's segment for this thingy McBobber. La Pie.
Yes,
we're
exactly.
going to go ahead
It is now that. La Pie.
La Pie. So, the next week's question is going to be, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? What would you use it for? If you have any questions in regards to this, go ahead, write down your responses in our social media feed for this post for next week's question.
Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, MySpace, all that great things. Let us know on our social medias. What's our social medias, Matthew?
It is going to be, oh crap, you're going to
You should have it
me.
memorized. It's Back from the Grid, I think, on Twitter, and then on Facebook it's Back from the Grid Podcast, and then Twitch, it is the Back from the Grid, but it should be changing soon to just Back from the Grid.
Yeah, because Cody.
And then we also have a YouTube. If you guys don't know, anyone who's just finding us now on the other channels that we've expanded into, we also upload this to YouTube with some visuals. It's not a lot of visuals, but they're pretty neat and interesting. Matthew does a good job on them. And so, yeah, if you want to go to our YouTube channel and go to the episode that we talk about, these lapayas,
Lapaya.
then you can comment down below on the videos, and we will also see those as well, because we read every single comment.
Make sure that when you do decide to go ahead and submit your answers for the next week's episode, that you use the hashtag that is associated with it. So we'll have it in the description what next week's questions hashtag will be.
What is next week's hashtag going to be, Matthew? You should say it right now.
Lapaya superpowers.
So how do you spell lapaya for those who are just listening?
LP.
He's looking at his paper to spell it.
AY. Yeah. There you go.
LPAY? All right.
Lapaya superpowers.
Then it would just be Lapay if there's no I in there.
I put it through Google thing. That's what it told me it was pronounced.
All right. So that's it. Yeah, go check us out. Let us know if you can't figure out what the hashtag is. That's okay, because we'll still see the comment. But if you could use the hashtag, that would be cool too.
Yeah. So anyway, so transitioning on to
our
next topic.
Amazing topic.
Entertainment news. Cody.
No, Matthew, we got one before that.
We do?
We do, yeah. We're going to talk about some things that make us nostalgic.
Nostalgia? I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
it
snuck itself in there, didn't it? So today we're going to be talking about what our favorite and most impactful horror movie is and why that we've ever watched. Or it can be a Halloween movie too. It doesn't specifically have to be in the horror genre.
Oh man.
So if you don't have it thought of right now, I can go ahead and talk about mine.
Go first, because I need to remember the name of it.
Okay.
I know which one that it was like. I need to think it for a second.
Was it like a big plant?
No.
Okay.
It was a... Oh, God.
Because I think I remember the name of that. So my favorite and most impactful horror / Halloween movie that makes me very nostalgic and is one of my favorite things I've ever seen, and I religiously listen to the soundtrack whenever it becomes spooky season. So you can bet that I have almost all the songs memorized at this point, is, of course, A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Why?
When all through the house, Jack Skellington left really horrific gifts for people and scarred all those children for life. And that's why we don't believe in Santa Claus anymore, kids, because he tried to murder you all. Anyway, so yeah, A Nightmare Before Christmas is just it's a classic. I mean, it's not a horror movie, but I will say as a small child, it did scare me, and I had some nightmares about it. But that's what you want a movie about Halloween to do, because it's the spooky season. It's all about getting scared and having good experiences with that. But the thing that really sticks it into my mind are all of the amazingly crafted songs. I think Danny Elfman had a big part in a lot of those songs. He's a pretty big guy in the music composing industry. I like This Is Halloween, of course, the classic main theme, but I also like what is it? It's the What Is This? And he's at the Christmas town. And then my second favorite one of all the songs they have is Kidnap Mr. Sandy Claus.
Oh my God.
I love that song so much. I don't know why, but it's just like perfect Halloween song going on there. So Matthew, it looks like you've got it figured out now. So what do you think is your favorite / most impactful Halloween / horror movie?
The Brothers Grimm.
Why does that sound familiar? That sounds familiar.
It has Matt Damon and Heath Ledger in it. Well, and it was like kind of like a horror kind of movie. I don't know a whole lot of details as far as movie because it's so old. Like this was when I was a kid in like elementary. But literally, particularly the only reason that it is impactful and why I say it's the most impactful movie I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm. Horror / Halloween
That's
movie.
horror / Halloween movie. Is the fact that it scarred me as a kid and has sit with me ever since.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way.
Okay.
So there was a scene in the movie where there was a kid going into a horse, like what are those stalls?
Yeah.
And
a horse
somebody fed the horse a spider.
Uh-huh.
And the spider made a bunch of webs in the horse.
Ugh.
And so the kid proceeded to pet the horse and stuff, and the horse like basically like threw the webs out at the kid, shrinking the kid and ate the kid.
What?
And if you watch the scene on YouTube or whatever it is, IMD, that part in the film scarred me because of how
That's just
messed up.
ridiculous.
How messed up. It made me so, like, it hit me so hard from how messed up it was. I went to bed that night and got sick and, like, puked.
Jeepus.
That's how messed up it was.
All right. Well, that's pretty impactful.
And it has sat with me since.
All right. Well, hey, if you guys have a favorite horror movie or horrifically scarring story like Matthew, let us know on our social media. Back from the Grid podcast, Back from the Grid, the Back from the Grid. Just look them up, you'll find us. So yeah, that's some stuff that makes us nostalgic. Some of it's bad
That's
nostalgia.
so messed up.
Some of it's good nostalgia. You know, we can't always have happy stories here on the Back from the Grid podcast. All right, so Matthew, now we get to move on to the favorite segment, the reason people show up and listen to us blab on for hours on end. Well, you've got a story to tell.
I do.
And it's a news story.
It is a news story,
And
which
it
means
is very impactful.
that it's in the news story segment. So here we are.
Here we are in the news story segment.
In the news. It's kind of old
Today
news.
in the news.
Anyway, so today's story is pretty awesome if you are just a fan of Telltale games. Unfortunately, I believe last year, sometime around September of last year, so it's been a year or so, they filed for bankruptcy, which was a shock to a lot of people, and especially people who were fans of The Walking Dead, because they were only halfway through the season, and they were still releasing episodes. And to find out that the company that was making it was going under, especially a huge game franchise like Telltale and The Walking Dead, that was a shocker. But as a positive side of things, it looks like the game studio, Telltale Games, that went through the closure, is being resurrected. So I am super excited. Under new management.
All right. Before you go on with this, I do have some things to say, but I will let you continue your story and then I'll say them at the end.
Alrighty.
So please continue.
Holding company LCG Entertainment has gone toward with purchasing Telltale
Forward.
Games. What?
Has gone forward.
Sue me, Mister. I'm going to interrupt.
Hey.
Anyway,
it says forward on your screen there that you're reading off of.
I'm blind in
It's
one
okay.
eye.
I mean, you're wearing glasses, so that's fair.
Wow. Bite me. Holding company LCG Entertainment has gone forward with purchasing Telltale Games along with many of its assets and IPs. James, I don't know how to pronounce that. James
Tilly
will furthermore act as the new CEO of Telltale Games.
I don't know.
With many key talents are actually coming back to Telltale now that they've been reformed. However, most of them have gone forward to find new jobs at other games companies like Scalebound was one of them. A lot of the key talent went over there because they had to finish The Walking Dead after Telltale went under. But a lot of them are getting rehired and are coming back, which is exciting to see. September of 2018, to anybody that doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, September last year, the news broke out the studio was filing for bankruptcy. This was a huge shock. Over 250 employees were let go with small notice. Pretty much just be like, yeah, you're all out of a job. Goodbye. And basically they kicked them out, like with hardly any notice. With I think they said they only had like 20 or 30 minutes to pack up all their stuff.
Yeah, there was no severance packages. There were people who Telltale owed money to that they didn't even pay them when they kicked them out like that, because they packed up their crap. The CEO got all their money that they could, and they hopped out of there.
Yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately,
they yeeted themselves away,
and they left a small team of people to finish up a lot of the other major things that were going on with Telltale's business partners, and also work on the last episode that Telltale would work on, being episode 2 of the final season of The Walking Dead. Reports suggested, though, also that the game studio had a bunch of bad work environment, or just a lot of complaints about the work environment, and many employees that worked there had reported saying that it was a rather unpleasant work environment that was very, very hostile towards its workers, and supported workaholic behavior, making them work upon, if not hundreds of hours a week, without like extra pay,
Yeah.
without severance, without bonuses, in unpleasant work conditions, while the upper management was kind of reaping all the awards. However, with this new plan, that's very exciting to see that it's under new management. Hopefully things will get better for Telltale now that they're back in action. However, we probably won't be seeing a lot of games coming in the next couple of years. There's no reports of what they'll be working on yet. They're just kind of building themselves back up to where they can actually get to working on games again. But a lot of IPs they kind of lost. The Walking Dead, Scalebound now owns that IP to make that series. There's a couple of IPs that they still have, Wolf Among Us being one of them. I remember they announced season 2, only to cancel it because of the closure. So that'll be exciting to see if they do decide to go ahead and make season 2. I will be super happy because that was my favorite Telltale game that they made. And I've been waiting like years for a second season, and they never did it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's that news story. We're gonna go ahead and move it on over.
No, we're gonna back it up just a little bit.
Oh
Matthew.
crap! I was trying to avoid this.
Just a little bit.
Oh God.
Okay, well, you did cover it. You said at the beginning, like, hey, some exciting news about the Telltale company. I think there are probably quite a few people who are okay with Telltale having gone under, specifically just for their working practices, but you covered that. They're very unpleasant working conditions. They treated their workers like crap.
Oh yeah, no, there's no hiding that fact. They treated their highest workers like garbage.
Unfortunately, it's a much more common practice in the industry than it should be, but it's starting to get more awareness, and I think more companies are starting to trend away from that sort of behavior.
It made me worried when Kojima got on stage at one of the game shows. I think it was GameCom, literally like a month away from his next game was coming out, and he made a statement saying we're kind of like we're like grinding away, and I was like, you might want to be careful how you use that word, because
you gotta be careful.
If you use the word grind, people assume that your workers are going to be working.
Yeah, crunch periods, stuff like that. Not very healthy. Second thing I'll mention is that from what I heard, which was just a video from a YouTuber who I trust to be very upfront about the facts of things, was that Jamie Ottley, I think there was another person in it too, they have no prior connection to Telltale. They are not. They are two philanthropist entrepreneurs who are just effectively just buying Telltale's properties, and hopefully they'll, keep to how Telltale did their stuff instead of taking things in a whole new direction.
But it wasn't the management that made it. It was the management what ended it.
And that's what I'm getting to next. You did mention how a lot of the key talent are actually leaving and have gone to other jobs. They said they will try to hire people back, but they're not hiring them back as employees. They're hiring them back as independent contractors, which is a very different thing than as an employee. As an independent contractor, you're effectively a freelancer. They don't have to pay for your insurance. They don't owe you anything. They can fire you at a moment's notice. You aren't promised any good working conditions at all. So hopefully things will change, but the being hired back is a little misnomer because it's not really getting resurrected. It's more just kind of being puppeted by these people, as far as I'm aware. Hopefully they'll do good things with it, but Telltale being resurrected is a little bit of a misnomer kind of deal, from what I understand. I just wanted to put that information out there since I had something to add. But that's a good story, though. I like that. Hopefully they'll do good stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah,
we can only hope.
I really just want to see them make another.
Welcome to my world, Matthew, with Mount Blade Bannerlord.
Hey, you know what? I have like multiple things over here, buddy. I've got Half-Life 3.
Hey, everyone has
Portal
Half-Life 3. Portal 3, everybody has Portal 3.
Left 4 Dead 3.
Valve just cannot count the 3. It's impossible.
Team Fortress 3.
They can count to Portal 1, Portal 2, and then they trip and say Portal Bridge Constructor. They just like have a spasm or something, and it's just, I don't know, Bridge Constructor this, card game that, but whatever.
Artifact. Remember seeing that video of the Artifact reveal and everybody's like, oh oh, new IP, and then
it's a
like,
card game.
It's a Dota 2, like not Dodo. It's
Dota.
like a Dota.
Yeah, Dota 2.
Card. Yeah, Dota 2 card game.
Dota 2
and everybody's
card
like, oh, I loved it. It was like,
oh,
this sucks.
Valve can make good games. They just need to do it.
That's why we're hoping Epic.
Hey, but this is a great segue because guess who my next story is about?
What is it?
Valve. I'm talking about Steam, boys. I got a big old story on Steam coming up here. Let me pull up my documents here. All right, so the headline of this story, as I like to mention and give proper credit, is Steam Library and Events Overhauls Coming This Month. Written by Aaron Garst, September 4th, 2019. At the time of reading this is when it was published, and it was published on Polygon. So if you want to check sources, then you can go there and look at his research and stuff. So this story is Steam is bringing a huge update to its library, and it's also giving developers a new Steam Events tool. I won't be going into the Steam Events tool. If you want to learn more information about that, it's just a developer tool to give more interaction with customers. If you want to look it up, then just go to Polygon and try to find the story. If you search the headline, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But the open beta for the new Steam library will launch on September 17th. And the Steam library, it's going to be a huge change. So right now, it's just like a list of games on the left, and then you click on each one, and it brings up information about it. That's effectively what the Steam library is right now. But what they're planning to do is, the idea behind it is to help players stay up to date with game updates and events in the library, as well as some new organizational features. They've got a new landing page that will give you quick access to multiple categories of games, like the ones your friends are playing, recently played games and other things like that. The Valve designer, Alden Kroll, said the goal here is overall just to help players find the next game they might want to play. There will be a What's New section that displays developer-curated announcements, events, and updates, and likely to be used to promote like tournaments and free XP weekends and other things like that to entice you to play games that you haven't played in a while. A new collections feature will be a more robust way to organize your library. You can create tags based on all sorts of things like the genre, the hardware support, like if you have a Vive or anything else like that, play state, and other things. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but they're revamping it a whole bunch. And I'm actually going to show Matthew a screenshot of what it's proposed to look like.
Oh my god, that looks so much better.
Right? But so that is, if you guys want to see it, then just try to find the story and you'll be able to see it. Effectively, from my perspective, it kind of looks a little bit like the Epic Store library.
Oh no.
So I'm thinking that one of the reasons they're doing this is in response to the Epic Store and trying to compete better with them, which is good. It's good. Epic Store doing something good for Steam, making Steam more competitive. Perfect. That's really good to happen. Good things and stuff. Although anything that gets closer to the Epic Store makes me a little worried because it looks like they're... Okay, I'm not saying they're copying the Epic Store because it could be completely different. And I'm not an expert on the Epic Store.
I played Epic Games.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on Epic Store, but it does, from the screenshot, sort of resemble that setup. So hopefully they're going to keep it to be their own thing.
You want to know the difference between the Epic Store and the Steam Store?
There's a lot of differences.
It's got voice chat.
Oh, okay. Well,
get wrecked.
It's all over now. Another concern I have is that for people who have like over 100 games on Steam, or even some people like over 500 games on Steam, I'm concerned that their What's New section, which is supposed to tell you news and information about games that you haven't played and stuff, is just going to be spammed to heck, and you're not going to be able to like find anything useful in there because it'll be all these games that you don't care about that just happen to be in your Steam library that like you got from a Humble Bundle. Then the game's complete garbage. Or something like that. So I'm not sure how they're going to curate that. Hopefully it'll be like the games that you interact more with will be the ones that have the announcements show up more or something like that.
They could have an algorithm, or they could have an option where you can manually hide the game.
It's possible. We don't know yet. But when Valve tries to make big changes, sometimes they shake the boat a little too much. But so we'll have to see how all that goes. But yeah, so
That's that segment.
yeah, I'm interested to see if this will help me pick out games to play that I haven't played in a while, because sometimes it takes me a while. Like, I'll have to search through my list of games because I've got way too many on Steam.
I actually played Gary's Mod recently.
Dude, I love
And I haven't played that in like a year.
I'll be honest, I have a problem with Gary's Mod. I've got like 800 hours in it. That's not much compared to some people. Some people have like 5,000 hours, but
I have 150 hours in Far Cry 5.
well, yeah, but Far Cry 5 is like a big game. Gary's Mod is this little tiny thing that's just
Yeah, but it's
there's
like
a
you can
lot
do
of
whatever you
depth
want
to
in
it, but yeah, it's a problem. Anyways, Matthew, we're moving on to my favorite segment of the show.
Oh, shut up. I'm done here.
So we're going to be talking about our versus segment. So last week, Matthew, can you remind me what was our argument or our discussion? What was our obvious right answer and obvious wrong answer?
Shut up. I'm going to win one of these days.
Never going to happen.
Darn it. Anyway, so our versus segment last week was, is water wet?
Yes.
And the two answers was, water is wet, which that's incorrect if you answer that.
Hey now.
And water is not wet.
The correct answer, as chosen by you, the viewer listeners, is water is wet. Thank you very much. It was 8 votes to 13 votes.
I don't want to hear
for water is wet.
I just want everybody to know.
I want everybody to know that Matthew is factually wrong, and I have evidence to support it.
No, you just have a mob.
Hey, majority rules, man. That's how democracy
doesn't mean
works.
it's not. That's how democracy works. This is not democracy. This is how logic works.
This is democracy. We're asking people to vote. That's what democracy is. And you're just factually wrong, and it's okay. That happens.
Oh my God. I just want you to know who the 13 people that voted that it is wet. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Well, Matthew.
And you all voted because that cat picture. I asked all of you who said that. So that devalues
the
your
picture that you
legitimacy.
chose. So no, it doesn't devalue nothing because you set the whole thing up. Anyway, to this time, we're moving on to have a friendly discussion of who would kill who in a fight between Sonic versus Mario.
Genesis versus Nintendo. The bread and butter platformers, head to head.
So in this, we are just talking about like in their classic games. So Sonic, like in Green Fields kind of game, and then Mario in
He just shows up. He's
Super
like,
Mario World. Those kind of things. So any like super ultra new advanced Sonic that has like all these different characters and stuff. We're not worrying about that. It's just going to be Mario versus Sonic and like classic Mario and Sonic.
Okay, so to establish the rules, this is with no mushrooms or anything, correct?
No, we can utilize the equipment. We talked about that a little bit.
Okay.
Like they have some equipment that cancel each other out. But we will get to the discussion. So my pick, and I'm gonna explain a little bit, as I think Mario would win in a fight between these two.
Bull.
Hold your horses. Let me say my piece. This is a discussion, not a Matthew is always right. Thank you.
Obviously,
very much.
I'm never right.
I wonder why. Anyway, so I believe that Mario would win in a fight between Mario versus Sonic. Simply, okay, so originally I wouldn't have thought so, but after watching Game Theory's videos on like how super ultra mega powerful Mario is, that he can break a brick with his face repeatedly a lot, and he can jump like way higher than any regular person, and he literally can have different powers according to his equipment. He can spit fire, he can literally just fly. We'll get there. He's got a star that is not rare and is everywhere across the world that makes him invincible and insta-kill everything he touches. So Mario, I feel, has a very strong ability to win here. He also has 3 hits he can take when he's at full power before he's murdered. Sonic only has 2. So, but I'll let Matthew talk about Sonic now.
Alrighty, so Sonic, I feel like you're kind of, not giving him enough credit where his credit is due. Sure, Mario can go ahead and destroy bricks.
With his face.
With his face, but you want to know what Sonic can do? He can destroy metal.
Continue.
He's destroyed multiple robots. He's destroyed Eggman's boss fights, like the big gigantic machines that are like 20 or 30 times.
Okay, but to be fair, Eggman built those. So they're going to be pretty fragile.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like you're just trying to devalue the fact that, you know,
I am a little bit,
steel
but
is
it's okay.
steel, and the fact that he can just basically go boop and like repeatedly go boop 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 and like destroy it. I feel like you're undervaluing that. That's
Yes,
brick is brick.
but-
I can break brick with metal.
We're not talking about who can break the strongest material. We're talking about who would
Who's
win
stronger?
in a fight between
So
Mario or Sonic.
No, I'm bringing that acknowledgy. Acknowledgy.
Acknowledgy.
I'm using that acknowledgy. Acknowledgy. I'm using that analogy to establish the fact that Sonic can destroy metal, whereas with Mario, he can destroy brick. Which is stronger?
Well, that's not the question here.
What do
It's
they
which is
use to
stronger.
break brick?
And
Sledgehammers. What are sledgehammers
I am
made
not
of?
an entire expert on either of these characters,
Hey.
but I'm fairly certain that
Hey.
Mario
Hey,
may have something to do with the piping system that he constructs. And as a plumber, I do believe he could, if not break metal, he would know how to dismantle it or use it to his advantage. So there's a give and take here that you're not
I
considering.
feel like you should let me.
Well, continue. You were throwing your metal argument out there like the smoking gun, so please continue. I thought you were
Anyway,
finished.
also he doesn't have just 2 hits. It depends on how many coins.
I thought
how
when
many
he got
rings he
all
has.
of his rings were
Yeah, his rings all
pooped
fall
out.
out.
Yeah.
And that depends on how many rings he has. So, say for example, we go through a full level beforehand, and he has 100 and something rings.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he picks up the majority of them, he'll be fine. He can take more than 2 hits. He could take up to 50 hits if you want.
Okay, if you want to get up to that level, we can talk about how Mario can have infinite lives. If we're going through a full level, he can
We're
just
not talking
die
about lives.
and
We're
regenerate.
talking about the single lives.
Well, if that's what you're talking about with going through a full level and collecting all the rings.
And
or
even
whatever.
then, it doesn't matter because, you know, it doesn't mean he gets knocked down to 1 hit once he loses his rings. He could just pick that ring back up before it disappears and just be perfectly fine. Like
Okay,
nothing
but you're
happened.
forgetting the fact that one, Mario can ground pound, which could easily do 2 points of damage to him, and he can bounce on his head, and he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't have time to pick
Yeah,
up an
but
extra
Sonic's
ring.
Sonic, and he can go fast.
Yeah,
that
but he has to
blast
do a charge up,
processing.
though.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
He can run.
Yeah, but he has to, like, run at normal speed and then speed up into fast
He'd
speed.
still be
He
faster.
can't just pew off into the distance. It takes him a second, which would give Mario the opportunity to squish his butt.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he has fire flowers. He has the ability to fly. He can literally go in different tunnels and appear randomly out of nowhere. He's faced off against a giant spiky death monster for eternity and has never lost to the guy. Officially. I'm sure a lot of players have lost to Bowser many times, but Mario as a character has not lost to Bowser.
You know what, though? He's defeated Eggman millions of times. He's fought against people with the Chaos Emeralds, still beat him. And he has a team of people to help him, but we're not going to go ahead and say
Yeah, we're
that.
not going to bring the teams in because this is just Mario versus Sonic. I will say, though, just in case you guys are wondering, we previously discussed this, and the reason we're not talking about the stars or the Chaos Emeralds is because we agreed that they
You just
cancel each other
mentioned
out.
stars.
Well, I mentioned them, but as a general overview, we're not using them as an argument because we agreed they cancel each other out. Because effectively, they both make them invincible and they both make them insta-kill people. So they cancel each other out in the
bring
fight.
up the Chaos Emeralds.
Go for it.
So as soon as you collect all of them, you can go ahead and use them. And for a whole level, not a small period of time, a whole level, you can use the Chaos
Yeah,
Emerald.
but you have to collect all of them, though.
Yeah.
They're rare. The stars can be found anywhere.
No, that's it.
Just laying around
I don't
all
know
over
what
the place.
kind of Mario game you're playing, but they're relatively hard to find when I play.
I don't know. I can usually find 2 or 3 in one level.
Okay, if
That's
I was to
pretty
pull
good.
out, if we were to go and grab my NES and say, okay, find a star in the original first level.
I
Super
already
Mario.
know where one is in that level.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
right at the 3-prong question marks with the one on top, and I believe it's the one on top.
I thought
Or
it was-
there's like there's 5 question mark blocks. and then it's one of those in there. But they're all over the place. And then there's like secret tunnels, and if we're talking about how much things that people can collect, if he collects 100 coins, he gets an extra life right there.
Yeah, but Sonic can also get lives.
Effectively, this is going to be a close battle, but I do believe that Mario has the edge for the simple fact that he has in-air maneuverability. Sonic does not have that. When Sonic's running, he's stuck to the ground, effectively. Am I wrong? Well, he can jump, but when he's at speed, he's on the ground.
He can also use his speed.
What I'm saying is that Mario can jump into the air and maneuver. He also has the ability to fly if he has a feather. And I think that would give him the edge over Sonic for his aerial attacks and maneuverability.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what you're thinking? Well, you're wrong.
Okay, well, we're going to end the discussion here because now our only arguments are you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
So, actually, the real winners of this discussion will be you, kind viewers. So please go to our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Back from the Grid podcast. We won't have a poll on Twitch, but go let us know. And once you vote on the poll, feel free to leave a comment on it as well, and let us know why you voted the way you did. If there's an argument that you can think of that we have not thought of that would be very important to this conversation, then please let us know.
Meow.
Is that supposed to mean something?
Yeah, you have not watched the Sonic trailer.
No, I haven't.
Or he's like the police officer.
I've seen the pictures, but I could not get myself to watch something that awful.
Points the flashlight at him, and he was like, meow, like he's trying to be a cat, and then the police officer freaks out.
Cool. Awesome.
Anyway,
aren't they not making that?
No, they are. They
redoing
delayed it because they're gonna redo Sonic.
They better.
That's a nightmare fuel if you look at them before the retouches.
It is. Also, for those of you who follow us on the weekly, you will notice that last week we did not have a show. That was because of life circumstances that come up. We're both very busy people, and finding schedules that can work together is sometimes difficult. So for this one, we're going to go a little extra time. And
yeah, I got a couple of things we can go ahead and add on to this.
No, we've already got the thing. It's right there.
Our movie discussion?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be talking about a movie that Matthew's been trying to get me to watch for a while.
Yeah,
I finally, because the new one is coming out, we're talking about It Chapter 1. Because the new one is coming out, I decided to go ahead and watch it, and I found I was not as horrified as I expected.
I told you this!
Okay, well, it's for a different reason. So Matthew's been trying to get me to watch this. I finally decided to watch it so that we could go watch the second one and then talk about it on the podcast, which we're going to go do tomorrow. We're going to go watch the second one. I'm sure it's going to be great. So first, let me talk about the movie and why it did not scare me. So you guys don't know because I've not said it on the show yet, but I'm going to say it now. Currently, well, I think we have said that me and Matthew are going to college to be working in TV and movies and stuff like that. The exact degree I'm not going to name because of, reasons, but we're going for that kind of stuff. So I've been in an environment of thinking about movies and TV shows as like, how do you make this? How does this work? What editing system did you use? What technique? What did the actor have to do to make this work? So when there's something scary and terrifying in a movie, instead of scaring me, I look at it and I'm like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. How did they do that? So it didn't scare me as much. And I think another thing that helped me with that is, I'm going to mention it here, I currently work as a production assistant for the local news station. So I've been in that environment. And I feel like that's really desensitized me to the horror, because anytime it's going to scare me, I just try to rip it apart piece by piece and figure out how it happened. So that is why I think it doesn't scare me, because before, if I had watched this movie, it would have scared the crap out of me. Like that painting lady, the face on that is disturbing. It's very disturbing. But anyways, let's talk about It Chapter 1. So Matthew, my favorite scene in It Chapter 1.
Wait, should we go ahead and just spoiler alert?
No, spoiler alert for It Chapter 1. We're not going to be doing spoiler version and non-spoiler version, because it's been out for a while. For the Chapter 2 one, we will, though, just so we don't spoil nothing. But this is the end of the podcast, effectively, if you don't care about this movie discussion. But we're going to be discussing it. because I actually told Matthew he's going to have to wait to get my opinion on it so that we could talk about it on the show.
I'm very nervous to see what he thinks.
You're
But
nervous.
to anybody who's tuning out, go ahead.
Check out our social media.
And we'll see you on the next exciting episode of the podcast.
Matthew.
Anyway, for the remaining viewers, let's go ahead.
If you guys want to hear the real outro, then stick around for the actual end of the podcast.
Actual end of the podcast.
Right. Matthew did a good job. Okay, so my favorite scene in that, and it's my favorite scene because it was really technical, and I don't think a lot of other people liked it. But okay, so I gotta back it up just a smidgen. Pennywise entertained me.
Oh,
Pennywise did not scare me. Like
dancing.
Yes.
Oh,
the dancing was the most enjoyable part of that movie because I was just watching like, that looks really cool. It has no point in the movie, but it looks really cool. Like the lighting was great. The way the camera follows his face just perfectly, and the I don't know how they did it, but maybe they put his head on like an animatronic, or maybe the actor was doing that or something. It looked really good. Also, the part where Pennywise is talking to Georgie in the sewer, like the way he interacted with him was entertaining to me. I mean, when he bit the arm off, that was that's when it started to get creepy. But contrary to popular belief, clowns to me are entertaining. They do what they are intended to do, and they're funny to me. And I know a lot of people get scared by clowns, but to me, like, until Pennywise started doing that creepy crap, demon crap, that's when I started to not see him as entertaining. But like for most of the time with Pennywise, he was just entertaining as a clown is supposed to be. So what do you think about that, Matthew?
I really liked the scene. You know that scene where he's like he's outside the what's the house, the creepy house? What's the name for it?
Oh, I don't remember. But yeah, it's the old rundown house that he lives in with the well in the basement.
Yeah, you know that scene where he's like, we are low down here, and his eye goes sideways. What? You know, he's holding the bunch like this the upside down triangle of balloons, and he like releases it, and he's like,
oh, when they're in the backyard and the
with
little
the
kid's
leper.
running away from the leper. Yeah.
And his eye. Did you know that's not CGI?
No.
That Bill Skarsgård. He has this.
Charizard.
I remember watching this Conan O'Brien interview with him, and he's like, I have this thing where I could literally naturally just kind of like, have my my left eye looking straight at you, and I can have the other eye just kind of go off sideways.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
The producer found that out, and he's like, yo, we need you to do that.
That's a good producer. They did. Okay, let me talk about this for a second. The quality of this movie was superb. There was only one scene where there looked like there might have been some technical issues, but like the cinematography in this was amazing. The direction was great. I did not notice any production issues with this movie overall. Child actors are gonna have some issues. There were a couple times when they were acting when it was like, hey, I mean, but they're kids. But they're kids, so I can't really, put too much pressure on them.
My favorite kid actor in that film was the guy who
was the one from Stranger Things. Yeah, I figured.
Oh my god,
the jerkwad dude.
He's like, am I right, boys?
It was funny, and then it just started to get kind of annoying.
I heard in the second chapter, but the adult actors are pretty spot on for their kid characters.
That's good. I mean,
so I'm excited to.
It's got good reviews so far, from what I've generally heard. And then you were looking at the amount of showings, and there was 21 different showings tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a ton of them, which I'm not shocked because that movie made
it
so
will be
much
the
money.
second day that it's out. To be fair,
that's even more impressive because the fact that they're still holding ticket sales. Like, I thought that they were going to be sold out, like, like at least for the next couple of days.
Well, I mean, it is, school season and people are working, so the weekend tickets might be sold out, I would imagine, but the weekday, maybe not as much. Yeah. Although it is Friday night. So.
Yeah, it's Friday night. Most people are going to be like, partying.
I mean, no, we do this on Fridays. What are you talking about? Yes, it's Friday right now, people.
It's Friday.
Yes.
We're watching it on Saturday, totally.
Yes, exactly. We don't do this on Thursday and then quickly try to get it ready for Friday. I don't know what you're talking about.
That totally doesn't speak to our production quality.
Hey, we do pretty good stuff. It's all right. We could do better with, like, the sound in
Fight me.
the
Fight
acoustics.
Me. Fight
But
me.
this is the best we got so far. But yeah, so It Chapter 1, I thought it was really cool. I did not like very much the okay, so this is not an issue on the people who made the movie. This is Stephen King's fault. There were two things that really irritated me about the movie that could have been fixed with Stephen King not being the way he is. Yeah. Firstly was how there was not one single redeemable character that was not in the group of losers. There was not a parent who was a good parent. There was not like a good Samaritan. There was literally nobody. Everybody was evil and mean and horrible people, except for the characters.
You need to understand it in the book.
That's I
because
get it.
Pennywise, he has that way of manipulating the adults to not knowing what's going on.
This
and being
is
completely
from
oblivious.
speaking as a person who did not read the books.
But then again, we can't really defend anybody. It's like, because there's going to be a lot of people that are like, I'm just watching the films. And I watched the original one with Tim Curry. Tim Curry in it.
Mm. And I didn't watch the originals, but I've seen a review of it.
They're good. I have a copy of it if you want to,
It's all right. I'm all right with just watching the newer ones. The older one didn't seem as well made to me.
Yeah, they tried shrinking it down and also didn't have as many of the gory scenes in it. But to be fair, I'm happy that they did remove some scenes from the book because
I've heard about those scenes.
A particular scene where the kids have
you don't need to explain it.
That I'm not going to say. I'm not going to explain it.
If you don't know, you can look it up, but I recommend that you don't because it's not good.
Put your browser
Stephen King being Stephen King. Yeah.
And he still defends that, by the way. He's like,
See, I thought he had apologized for it at this point.
He's like, nowadays that didn't hold up as very much.
Well, it shouldn't hold up any days. That's horrible.
Yeah, no, I heard that scene, and I feel like everybody universally agrees. Yeah, no, that's too far.
That's too far. Like, horror is horror, but that crosses the line.
It's too much.
Yeah, but there was a second thing that I did not like about the movie.
What is that?
That's a good question. I seem to have forgotten what I was going to say.
Mine was CGI in some parts.
CGI was, it was a little iffy at some points. What did you think about Pennywise having new powers, like being able to change the environment?
That's something he's always had.
Was it? Because when I was watching, I'll name drop him. When I was watching CinemaSins, that was something he pointed out, like that's a new power. Because when he takes the lady out of the painting and like literally the painting goes empty.
And who's not to say that's
instead
not
of just copying it.
That is like that, and also let's say something like on the lines of what if that painting was never there and he was just manipulating it as if making the kids think that it was.
But isn't it just Pennywise? Like he's not like Smoke or something. He's one dude.
Yeah, but he can manipulate himself in any way, shape, or form to go ahead because his true form is the deadlights.
I don't know what that is. Don't spoil it for me because it'll probably...
You've seen it in chapter 1. They barely covered
I thought that was like souls inside his
No,
throat.
That's his pure form. It's so disturbing and so messed up, it can almost kill you just looking at his true form.
Oh,
that's why
that makes so much more sense because I thought he sucked out her soul.
No.
And then when they brought her back to life, I was just thinking like, oh, okay, sure. Like the kiss of life, I guess. Whatever. Sure.
My question is, and this is from reading the book, I wonder if they're going to mention his true nemesis. And I feel like something that they are not brushing on too is why the kids are able to, because all the other kids in the town die when they encounter it. These kids...
I thought that it was because they were grouped together.
Nope. There's a reason.
Don't tell me in case they do cover it in chapter 2.
I mean, I'm not going to mention it.
But, I mean, of course, there's going to be things they have to leave out because you can't do an exact replica of the books.
They never mentioned it in the original TV series, though, which kind of made me like, But I understand why, because it was the reason why that book was so huge. Because, I'm going to mention this right now. Stephen King tried to bridge all of his books together for the most part in the Dark Tower story. And that was a phone going off.
That was. We're good.
Anyway, he tried to bridge them all. And a lot of you'll see references in the Dark Tower books towards Pennywise being mentioned and Derry being mentioned in the books as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's an entity in the Dark Tower books called the Cosmic Space Turtle.
That reminds me of Adventure Time and the Cosmic Owl.
I actually saw a reference to that with the Lego turtle in the movie. Wait, remember when he went into Georgie's room and then he heard the laughing, he heard that squirring? It was a Lego turtle. Did you notice that?
No, because I don't know the significance of that. Because I'm just watching the movies. I feel like these movies are more of a replica of the 1980s ones instead of it is a replica of the book. I mean, I still think they take things from the book as well, but I get the feeling that they're remaking the TV movies to be better instead of creating all new movies from the book.
So
it probably won't be included in there.
It'll be interesting to see what else they do with as far as that, because I remember. Well, I'm not going to get too much into that because again, I don't want to spoil it for Cody. And when we do talk about It Chapter 2, we can go ahead and discuss what I know of it's in the book.
Yeah, once we get there, because then it'll be done. Then the whole series will be done.
Which
so
I'm very
next
happy.
week, look forward to an It Chapter 2 review.
Yeah. So next podcast, we'll go ahead and talk about It Chapter 2 and we'll do a spoiler discussion at the very end of it. And also talk about comparisons to It Chapter 2 and just It in general.
We'll do no spoilers at the beginning and then spoilerific at the end.
I do want to state, have you watched the deleted scenes for It Chapter 1?
No, I have not.
I'm very upset that they did not include it into the film. Because it featured a death scene that was not confirmed unless you watch the deleted scene. I don't know if they're going to, decide to make it
canon or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if they're going to make it canon or not. And the fact that they didn't put it into the movie kind of makes me question why I did that. Did they not? Because
now you got to tell me what the deleted scene is.
So who Billy or something like the adult, like the teenager that like is a straight up like
yes.
crazy?
Okay, so pause real quick on this topic and then we'll continue. Billy is the second thing that I did not like about it. And like I said, both of my complaints are of Stephen King's writing and not the people who made the movie.
You know what?
I didn't feel like it needed a second like human antagonist. Like I get it if he needs to push the plot along every now and again, but actually like having the whole he's like having him be like it make him a murderer and then he goes after the kids and then he just falls down a well unconsequentially and doesn't actually do anything substantial. It just I just did not like that whole plot line. I mean the acting was good and everything, but
I want to say something right now, but I can't because it will make Cody angry.
You would not like me when I'm angry.
You'll turn into the Hulk. Anyway, it was a deleted scene where the scene where he watches the kids go into the house to fight it. Like for the second time to go get Beverly.
Yes.
To going down the well. There's a scene where the deleted scene is of him with his car after he kills his father. And he kills both of his best friends. And it shows them with their throats slit.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, bah, bah. He's, laughing in the car. And it shows a wide shot of the car with his best friends in the back, dead with their throats slit. So it's like 2 deaths, non-confirmed. We don't know if it's going to be mentioned, if it is going to be made canon.
I don't even think they'll even mention it because the guy is dead or done for or whatever. So there would be no reason to bring it up in the next movie. You know something I don't know.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and discuss this for the next...
Yes, we will save the rest of this discussion. It's an hour long now. We've hit how long we want to go. It's a little extra longer for those of you who missed us last week, but you do have something.
I do want to go ahead and say, Cody, do you want to go ahead and talk about one more topic?
I think we can go ahead and call it here. It's been an hour.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so I think that's all right. We can talk about
make
some
it
other
even
topics.
longer.
Let's
make this 2 hours.
1 hour is like our cutoff point. But that's gonna be Hey everybody, I can speak English. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for the what is this 7th episode of the Back from the Grid podcast. Man, we're doing pretty good.
Imagine if we make it to the 10th.
Well, we're gonna get the
champagne bottle out.
Dude, wait. The 10th might line up pretty well with like Halloween. We can make that our Halloween special.
This is Halloween.
This is Halloween. Okay, don't get me started. I could sing that whole song right now. So, yes, thank you guys so much for listening and putting up with our bullcrap and participating and stuff. So, if you haven't already, feel free to check out our social medias. I'll plug it again just in case you weren't paying attention the first 5 times. Twitter, I believe, is Back from the Grid. Facebook is Back from the Grid Podcast. And our Twitch account, which is kind of going a little silent right now because we're both busy with college and work and stuff, but we'll pick up later, is the Back from the Grid, but it'll probably just be Back from the Grid in the future at some point. So, thank you guys so much for listening. Matthew, is there anything you want to say before I say the outro?
Pineapples.
Pineapples, as always. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until then,
we will see you
in the next episode
of Back from the Grid podcast.
I actually, hold on, I legitimately forgot the outro. Hold on. Okay, yeah, there it is. And we'll see you in the next exciting episode of the Back from the Grid podcast.
Bye.